5-4 favourite to give the Rolling Star form quite a boost here. Vasco de Ronceray for trainer Nicky Henderson has got a very good record in this race. He's won it in recent years with Soldatino, with the Mighty Binocular and Punjabi. So a couple of champion hurdle winners have won this for Nicky Henderson in the past, and he's doubly represented in this by Vasco de Ronceray and this interesting newcomer on the right, red with the white sleeves, a Courtesy Call, as Graham was saying, a very useful horse on the flat when trained by Mark Johnston. The starter is up on his rostrum, so he's going to call them forward. Irish Saint made the running at Cheltenham last time out, but Ruby Walsh is sitting in behind one or two as they set off on their journey, with Shadapur the first to bound on. On the right is Courtesy Call as Little Keen. Far side is the filly Lunique in the red-white jacket. Vasco de Ronceray is tucking in behind the shades of green, then Irish Saint and Crispy Green. Lunique hit that first flight very hard. One or two of these pulling very strongly indeed, fiercely. Crispy Green in particular in the red cap, and the grey Vasco de Ronceray not settling as they go to the second. Shadapur is safely over as they make their way in front of the grandstand. This is not good for Crispy Green. He's really charging along, and Vasco de Ronceray, Barry Geraghty, is doing his best to settle him as well. It's a fairly muddling pace, truth be told, as they run away from the stands now. Head right-handed, Shadapur from in second place, Courtesy Call. Then up the inside is Lunique, followed by Crispy Green, Vasco de Ronceray. Irish Saint is out wide in the blue and pink hoops worn by Ruby Walsh, and Foster's Road is held up in last place. Along the side of the course, and they head towards flights 3 and 4, and Shadapur, stable companion to Crispy Green, leading the way. Shadapur in the hands of Noel Feely. Courtesy Call in second. On the near side is Lunique. Alice referred to Alan King having that earlier winner. It was Midnight Sound in that first race, so Alan looking for a double here with Lunique, who jumped away just into the lead of that flight. See how she takes this one. Oh, beautiful jump by Lunique there. Followed in second by Shadapur, Courtesy Call and Crispy Green. Then Vasco de Ronceray, Irish Saint and Foster's Road. So swinging right-handed now into the back straight, and Lunique on the near side of Shadapur as they head towards flight number 5 of the 8. Courtesy Call out wide. Crispy Green has this rather high head carriage. That's typical of him. It hasn't stopped him winning. In 5th place or thereabouts, Vasco de Ronceray on the outside of Crispy Green, and then Irish Saint just towards the left, close up within 3 lengths of the lead as they head towards this flight of hurdles, coming towards it. They land safely with Foster's Road 2 or 3 lengths adrift. Heading now towards 3 out. Lunique on the near side of Shadapur. Courtesy Call right there out wide. Crispy Green racing very powerfully, has done all the way, tanked all the way. Vasco de Ronceray behind them, and still Ruby Walsh is waiting on Irish Saint. Approaching the next then, at which Shadapur just faltered going into that, hesitated and loses ground, and it's Lunique on the near side with Robert Thornton getting a little lower in the saddle. Big run here from Courtesy Call on his hurdling debut. Crispy Green between them, Vasco de Ronceray in 4th. Now Ruby Walsh is asking Irish Saint, and he's not quickening up too sharply at the moment as they run round the final turn with 2 flights left to jump. Lunique on the near side of Crispy Green. Courtesy Call, the horse with the flat speed on the outside. Vasco de Ronceray, possibly enjoying this better ground today, is coming through very strongly on the right in the hands of Barry Geraghty. Irish Saint needs to find something, maybe just beginning to close fractionally. Then Foster's Road. This is the second last open looking race. It was Vasco de Ronceray and Courtesy Call. Irish Saint now hitting top gear on the right under the Ruby Walsh drive. They're followed by Lunique on the far side. Vasco de Ronceray and Irish Saint forge on together. It's Geraghty from Waltz at the last. Vasco de Ronceray by a length. Irish Saint landing running though on the near side and challenging hard. Irish Saint and Vasco de Ronceray. It's neck and neck, nose to nose up towards the line. Walsh from Geraghty. Irish Saint will just prevail. Wins the Adonis from Vasco de Ronceray. They were clear of Lunique, then Courtesy Call. Foster's Road, Crispy Green probably pulled far too hard in the early stages, and finally Shadapur Well, it's pretty cold here at Kempton today, but that will have warmed the hearts of many of the punters here in the stand. What a finish between two of our finest jump jockeys, Ruby Walsh and Barry Geraghty. It's gone to Walsh on Irish Saint.
A motif for the entire National Hunt season so far. Horses from the Paul Nicholls and Nicky Henderson stables fighting it out. And as he's doing in the Trainers' Championship, Nicholls just keeping his nose in front, this time courtesy of Irish Saint, who scarcely looked as though he'd be place turning for home, but under Ruby Walsh's galvanising drive, has got up on this short Kempton run-in to deprive Vasco de Ronceray. Irish Saint following up that promising run behind Henderson's Rolling Star at Cheltenham with this victory here, and Vasco de Ronceray showing improved form on this much better surface, and a really good run from Vasco de Ronceray, stable companion courtesy call, putting that flat speed to good use. But Irish Saint it is who has shown tenacity to match his generally slick jumping this afternoon. And a win for our morning line guest, Ruby Walsh. For the owner there in the scarf, Johnny Delahaye, and trainer Paul Nicholls, jockey Ruby Walsh is with Alice.
Ruby, I have to say, turning in, I thought, oh well, this one's not for Ruby.
I didn't think it was either. But in fairness to him, he stuck at it well, he battled well. He jumped off last two very well, which I needed to. And you know, he was gutsy.
Do you think the key was his jumping? Because the last he really landed running.
Yeah, he pinged the last, Barry missed it a bit, but to be honest, I think I nodded a straight after as well, which didn't help, but you know, he was gutsy.
What's the ground like out there? Because they were saying it's drying out.
It is, but I guess when you come from riding on real heavy ground, when it dries out, you probably think it's quicker than it actually is. It's riding quick ground, but there's no way it is. It's obviously on the slow side, but when you're so used to riding in the heavy, it's hard to gauge what it's like.
And the pick of the rest of your rides today?
Thought this was my pick, to be honest with you. I thought his form behind Nicky's horse in Cheltenham was quite good, so thought he was my best ride. The others have chances, but at least we have a winner under our belts.
Well done, Ruby, brilliant.
Cheers, thanks.
Happy scenes for Paul Nicholls and Ruby Walsh, but there was anxiety along the way, and I think this is a very good example, Jim, of how different conditions can make races look different. When this horse won at Kempton over Christmas, I think he clocked 4 minutes 22. This race is 3 minutes 57.5 on my clock, a much sharper test of speed, and he's had to dig in hard under different tactics. Two useful horses, I'm not saying they're Triumph Hurdle winners, they both needed a good jump at the last, they both got it, but stamina in the end won the day for Irish Saint.
Well, that's a fascinating first point you made, because for viewers at home, Graham's time differential equates to the best part of 2 furlongs as a stamina test. So it's much less today, and even though this horse wasn't impressive, he's battled well and he's done well to win under the circumstances.
And points to take out of it. I don't think Paul Nicholls will be fancying this horse to win a Triumph Hurdle. He will be fancying Far West. Far West, of course, beat the winner here, Irish Saint, and beat him really well at Cheltenham. And Vasco de Ronceray right back on song on a sounder surface here, and of course he is a stablemate of another leading contender for the Triumph Hurdle, Rolling Star, who works here after racing today. Great shots, and another little point to mention here today, we're in that window, Jim, where jockeys can pick up very, very costly whip bands. I think they're both within the rules.
And the Adonis hurdle has had such a bearing in the past on the Triumph Hurdle. Graham mentioned a couple of names there. Far West, who was a Triumph Hurdle mover himself, 8s into 5. And Rolling Star was moved just after that race by William Hill into 5-1 from 11-2. But let's go confirm the result. First, number 2, Irish Saint, the 5-4 favourite. The third win in the race for Paul Nicholls. He had Zarkandar and Hebridean previously. Second was Vasco de Ronceray at 5-2. And I have some quotes for the Triumph Hurdle. 12 from 16s with Labrets, 14 Paddy Power, 16 with William Hill, 16 with Stan James, and also Betfred, but the biggest quotable was 20-1 for the JCB Triumph Hurdle with Boyle Sports. But I should think you're looking more like Far West now, 8s into 5s he was at the start of the week.
And the man to answer all those questions is Paul Nicholls, the winning trainer. I've been eavesdropping a fascinating debrief with you and Ruby Walsh, Paul. How do you assess the Triumph Hurdle picture now with this horse and Far West?
Well, if you see how Far West beat the grey horse, Nicky's horse, and that sort of tells the story a little way. We wanted to ride this horse differently today, just because the last day he's never run on the flat. He's a bit babyish. We wanted him just to sort of do something different. He's picked up well. Obviously, we'll stay 2.5 miles. I mean, the Far West form and the grey horse just puts it into perspective a little bit, doesn't it? And we're going to keep open-minded with this lad and talk to Johnny and see. But I suspect that we'll probably end up going to Aintree with him either in the Juvenile or even go over 2.5 against the older horses, because I think 6 weeks' time I can get him a little bit better than he is possibly today.
How difficult is it for you, with a really enthusiastic owner like Johnny, to persuade him not to go to the Cheltenham Festival with a horse?
It's different. I mean, Johnny's a great owner, a great guy, very patient, and he leaves it to the team, and we'll think about it. And yes, he is one of the better juveniles there is, and so you wouldn't want to rule anything in or out. But it is only 3 weeks away. He's had a hard race. 6 weeks' time, a lot of the others might have had a hard race at Cheltenham. You might pay fruition to wait for Aintree, and I think, we need to talk about it and see. And I think Ruth just said that a lot of the form lines are pointing in different directions, but I suspect we'll wait for Aintree. But as I said, we'll talk to Johnny and see what we'd like to do and what is the right thing. You never know. If Cheltenham on the last day come up very, very testing, that would make things different. But 3 weeks isn't that long to run a juvenile going after today.
Well, you've got Grandioso running in the next race. What sort of aspirations do you have for him?
He's not even entered at Cheltenham. He won. I mean, really, he was a summer horse last year. We thought he was a summer and autumn. It's been too soft, and ended up coping with the ground and winning well at Ludlow last time. But he won a long way. But it was a shocking race, I think, and it just all fell apart around him because the ground was very bad. Not really the opposition, it's just the ground was very bad. He has to improve again, but he will like the ground in the track.
Another Saturday, another winner. You're not really an underdog, are you?
We'll keep trying.
Well done, Paul. Cheers, thanks a lot. Paul Nicholls, trainer of Irish Saints, who's won the Adonis Juvenile hurdle here. He's got Grandioso to come, and of course Rolling Aces, one of the big hopes for our feature race today, the Racing Plus Chase. All that and more after this.